Hello, everyone. Excuse me. Hello, everyone. So, based on request from our esteemed viewers, I will be doing a video today on how to fill Form I-907. Today, we're going to cover what are the basics of this form, what do you need to know about it, and again, put you through how to fill the form. For our viewers or those that are joining us for the first time, there are other forms that are very important in your immigration petition, like Form I-140 and the ETA Form 9089. All these are also available on Prof. Dan YouTube tutorials. You want to make sure you fill all of these forms correctly so that your petition will not be rejected or returned back to you. Just recently, there has been many returned back petitions from USCIS based on little mistakes on the filling of Form I-140. And that's why I did a latest video based on the latest edition for Form I-140. You can search for that online. I'm also going to drop the links in this video on Form I-907. So not everyone uses Form I-907. What is it meant for? What are the people that uses it? And that's what I'm going to be sharing with you today. I'm just going to quickly share my screen. So I'm going to show you everything I'm talking about. Basically, my advice is if you want to use Form I-907 at any point in time, forget about what you've had before, or if you already had the form somewhere before, my advice is go online, locate the official website of USCIS and get this form, because there is always changes, updates and the like. So you want to be sure that you are following the latest updates. So based on that note, if I go to Google, Google is popular to everyone, just put Form I-907, as you can see on the screen, and I should be able to see something like this. USCIS comes up first based on the algorithm, and I can click on that. Then I see something like this, which is the form we are talking about. Now, what is this form? A brief, quick dive into it before we go into the filling of the form itself. Take note of the following. This Form I-907 is to request for premium processing service. And it's particularly useful for example, employers or maybe individuals would need a quick decision on their petition. Some of these folks might, it might be due to time sensitivity, job start dates, urgent circumstances and the likes. And rather than waiting for a longer period to get feedback from USCIS, then you use this Form I-907. And let's talk quickly about some eligible applications and petitions for this Form I-907. As you can see on the screen, if you scroll down, you will see some of the forms listed here that you can use this premium processing I-907 for. So one of it is Form I-129, Form I-129. That's petition for a non-immigrant worker. And that's for most categories of non-immigrant workers, such as the H-1B, L-101, and others. For another category is the Form I-140. That's the popular one that self-petitioners for the popular EB2 NIW or the EB1A uses. So this Form I-140 immigration petition for alien workers, of course, is for certain employment-based green card categories, including the EB1, the EB2, the EB3. So these are examples of category of petition that can make use of this Form I-907. Now, quickly, let's talk about when to file. When. So you can file Form I-907 concurrently with an eligible Form I-129 or I-140. So what that means is that Maybe you are filing for the first time, your Form I-140, filling form, submitting based on the case of EB2 NIW or the EB1A, for example. As at that very particular stage, if you want to file concurrently, you can also submit the Form I-907 all together in your whole package that you will send to USCIS. There are some petitioners, since this premium processing is optional, it's not mandatory, right? So some petitioners who have already filed their Form I-140 without premium processing can still do so after a while. So again, two different categories of when you can file. The first one I've explained is you can file Form I-907 concurrently with your Form I-140 or Form I-129, as the case may be for you. Or the second option is you can also submit this Form I-907 at any time after you have filed the Form I-140 or the Form I-129. After you've already submitted, say for example, you've already submitted your Form I-140 for the EB2 NIW or the EB1A maybe about 1 or 2 months ago, and you feel like, oh, you cannot wait any longer for this long decision, and you want to get a quicker decision, and at that point in time, you can choose to now file the Form I-907. Although it should be provided or as long as that case is still pending. So you've submitted your Form I-140, you've not received decision from USCIS, then yes, you can still file only Form I-907 at that time. So that is when to file. Another thing we should take note of is how do we now file this form? And that's what I'm going to be taking us through right away, showing us the form on the screen, and we're going to fill it together. So of course, you have to complete this form and pay the necessary filing fee and some other things you need to provide in the document. And that's what I'm going to show you right now. So to get the form, as you can see online, for those filing I-140, you can file I-907 online. You can also check that to confirm. And if you click on file online, for example, you scroll down, you're going to see Form I-907 request for premium processing service. You would see the ones that you can do that for. If you read all of this, there is no Form I-140 there. So the next thing now is you can download the form online for free. I'm also going to put a link in this description section of this video. Still on the same page. Remember, we got to this page from putting Form I-907 on Google page, and we have this. You see here, you can see forms and documents downloads. When you click on that, you see Form I-907. When you click that, you can download the Form I-907, fill it up, print it out to sign. We're going to get there, and at the end of the day, mail it to USCIS. So now, if I have downloaded the form, let's see what we've got here, and that's what we're going to look at quickly. It's pretty straightforward, not as complex as Form ETA 9089 Appendix A or as Form I-140. This one is pretty straightforward. However, you still want to be sure that you do not make mistakes. So what do we do? Go to Part 1, start from Part 1. Alien registration number. If you have, you put it there. If you do not have yet, you put non-applicable. Question 2, do you have an online account with USCIS? If you do not applicable. Of course, number 3 applies to everyone. Your family name, you have to put it there. You can type it. Given name, click in the box, you type it in. If you have a middle name, of course, you can also put it in. Question 4, for self-petitioners, number 4 doesn't apply to you. This is for complaint or organization named in the related case. if filed on behalf of a company or organization. That's why I said for self-petitioners, this doesn't apply to you. Number 5 is mailing address. Now, if you are filing this while you are in the US, you have a US mailing address, you want to put it in question 5. If you are living abroad, you can still put your address of your abroad address in question 5. However, we have cases of petitioners, self-petitioners who file from abroad, who have, as you know, 1 or 2 persons in the United States, and they decide to use their mailing address. So that's why if you want to put it in care of such person, you can just put the name of the person here in care of name, who the person. And if you don't want to put it in care of anyone, if it's in care of you yourself, then you want to put your own name there, right? And that is it. Then put your address, the street number and name. If it's an apartment, if it's a suite or a floor, you want to indicate it. If it's an apartment, you put the apartment. If it's A, B, C, whatever, city or town, you can put it there. For those of you in the United States, if you click on the state box, you will be able to see the states there. If you have a zip code, province, postal code, if it applies to your country, United States, Canada, wherever you reside, whose address you are using. And that's that for question 5. It's not complicated, it's pretty straightforward. For question 6, it says, is your current mailing address, that is the one you already provided in question 5, the same as your physical address? You know, you have to select yes or no. And again, this is what I'm saying. Some people reside abroad and they decide to use a friend's mailing address that resides in the US. So in that case, select the correct box. And so if, for example, I reside in the US and I have the same mailing address as my physical address, I'm going to select yes. If I reside outside the US and I do not have the same or use the same mailing address as my physical address, then I will select no. Only one option, right? So then question 6 goes further to say, if you answered no to item number 6, provide your physical address. So in my case, if I reside in the US and I've used the same mailing address and it's the same as my physical address, then I don't need to fill question 7. But if you reside abroad, you've used a different mailing address and you have a different physical address, then you have to fill this number 7 up. So in that case, maybe now you can fill in your physical address, like if you reside in the UK, you reside in Canada, you reside in Nigeria, Ghana, and the likes. Take note of this form. You see that for question 1 to 6, it was easier for us to just click on the box and we type in. For question 7, it has a technical problem. So if that's the case for you and you want to fill in number 7, one thing you can do is, it depends on the kind of software you are using. In my own case, if I'm using Adobe PDF, there is an option of add tests. So if I click on add tests, I can come put it at the box and I'm able to type in whatever I want to type in, and that is it. I can change the color as well if I so wish, so maybe black. You can enlarge it, you can decrease the font and the likes just to properly fit in, and that is it. But do not forget to save at the end of the day. So that's it. You do the same thing for all the parts of question 7 if it applies to you. One of the most important parts in this form I-907 is question number 8. And in this number 8, people mixes something up, especially self-petitioners. Now, question 8 says, request for premium processing service, select only one box. If you are not a self-petitioner, no problem. Perhaps it's the second or the fourth one might be applicable to you. The second one is, I am the attorney or the accredited representative for the petitioner. Well, if that applies to you, or the fourth one option says, I am the attorney or the accredited representative for the applicant. So if any of that applies to you, choose that. But for self-petitioner, who are the main focus for my videos, which one should you choose? Should it be the first one, I am the petitioner, or the third one, I am the applicant. So I'm going to quickly differentiate between these two. Now, for the option that says I am the petitioner, you should select that option if you indeed are acting as the self-petitioner. Now, basically, in immigration terms, the petitioner is typically the individual who initiates the petition. And several things can happen. In employment-based cases like the EB2 NIW or the EB1A, where you can also have, or the EB1 generally, or the EB2, where you can have also employers sponsoring the candidates, or in the case of EB2 NIW or the EB1A, where you can self-petition, right? So in these two cases, what happens? The employer in that case is still the petitioner. But in your own case, as a self-petitioner, you are the petitioner. So in that case, even though you are the one self-petitioning or applying and filling this form, you are still the petitioner. That's just the summary. So if I am a self-petitioner, I'm the one filing this petition, the self-beneficiary of this petition, I will select I am the petitioner. But let's take a look at the option that says I am the applicant, because ideally one could say or argue that if I am the self-petitioner, the principal applicant, I'm also the applicant. The principal beneficiary, you're also the applicant, but let's distinguish it this way. Now, the option that says I am the applicant is generally used when you are not the petitioner, but the beneficiary of a petition that is filed by by someone else or by the original petitioner. So look at it this way. Someone is the self-petitioner and has a wife, a dependent, a spouse that also want to file this in their own petition. Then in that case, those set of people are derivative of the original petitioner. So in that case, they serve as the applicants. So that's just the difference. So if you have family members who are derivative beneficiary of your petition, then they are the applicants. But you as the original petitioner that is doing it by yourself, you are going to select the first one that says, I am the petitioner. That is just the difference for question number 8. And basically, that is just it. And let's take a look at the remaining parts quickly. Which says part 2, information about the requests. So 2 things happens here, which I will explain. Remember that in the beginning of the video, now we understand that you can use Form I-907 concurrently with your Form I-140, for example, filing all at the same time. Or after you've already filed your I-140, at any other given time, you can decide to expedite the action and say you want to file I-907 separately. Again, provided that that I-140 has not been given decision, right? So for this part 2, if you are filing concurrently at the same time, you most likely just need to fill question 1, question 3, and question 4 of part 2. However, if you are filing after you had already submitted earlier from I-140, then you need to fill all the remaining parts. Take note of that. So question 1 says form number of related petition or application. Whichever case you belongs concurrently or after, you have to fill this. So I could put form I-140, if that's the one you're filing it for, or form I-129. Then the receipt number of related petition or application. If you are filing after you've already submitted your I-140, please, this number 2 is highly important, because if you fail to put the correct receipt number, then there is no way the officer will match your form I-907 with your I-140 that is already with them. So when you have submitted your form I-140, ideally, you would have received a notice of action. That notice of action contains your receipt number. So you have to put the receipt number in number 2. Recall again that if you were filing concurrently at the same time, you do not have a receipt number at that stage. So in that case, it's going to be non-applicable. But if you do have, then you have to put it. At times, the receipt number comes like in this form, then you have some digit number, and that's it. Question 3, classification eligibility request. So if it is for example, EB2 NIW, or maybe EB1A, that's what this is asking you. Question 4, petitioner or applicant in the related case. So you can put your family name, the given name, and the middle name. If there is a beneficiary, in your own case, the premium processing is for your petition. You can still put your same family name, given name, and middle name. And question number 6, name of point of contact for the complaint or organization. Most likely, this is not applicable to, especially self-petitioner. This is not applicable to you, so you can just put non-applicable. Then question 7, complaint or organization, IRS, employer identification number, if any. Again, this is for complaint, doesn't apply to you, so you put non-applicable. And we go to question 8 of part 2. Again, this is not applicable if you are a self-petitioner. So that's pretty it. Let's just quickly look at what question number 3 says. So for question number 3, requester's statements. So you're gonna question 1, requester statement regarding the interpreter. I can read and understand English. So if that's the case, you are the self-petitioner, you select that. However, if you do not understand English and you use an interpreter in the whole process, then you're going to select B. And later on, you're going to provide information about the interpreter. For most self-petitioners who speak English, who understand English, it's always A. Then for number 2, for some people that use preparer, maybe someone else assisted you, for example, a consultant, an accredited representative, and the likes, has helped you to fill this form, and you want to take note of that. As such person will probably need to select this, and again, they will provide their information under the preparer section. Most importantly, self-petitioners, please do not forget to fill in this part. Requester's contact information. If you have a telephone number, please put it there. If you live abroad and you want to put the country code, this box will not take in symbols. So you can put it at the end of this form. However, you can decide to use a text box. Remember the trick, if you use a text box, you can put in the country code and everything you want to put there. So for example, if I want to use a text box, that's the text box there. I can put my plus maybe 235, then you put your number, something like that. So it can work out. And the most important thing, like I said, still put number 6, your email address, use your email address, and requester mobile telephone number. Oh, if it is a mobile telephone, put it in number 4. If you don't have a daytime telephone number, no need of filling number 3. So either of that works. So I think, yeah, the very most important part is this question number 7 that says date of signature. So you want to put the date that you signed, the month, the date, and the year format, and your signature, please. Now, for those of you filling this electronically, which is ideally good. However, when you finish filling this form, print the form out as hard copy as hard copy, and make sure you append your handwritten signature on question number 7, requestor's signature. Print your handwritten signature on a printed form I-907. And once you've done that, you are good. If you mistakenly forget to put in your signature, trust me, it will be returned back to you. So you want to avoid such delay. So for part 4, again, for those of you that use interpreters, you want to do the same thing, fill in their information. If you do not use interpreter, you don't need to do anything. And for those of you that use a preparer, someone that prepared it for you, you also want to ensure they fill in their information in part 5. And that is pretty it. And they also have to sign respectively, be it the interpreter or the preparer. If you use any of them, they must append their signature. And part 6, again, this part is just for, let's assume there are additional information that were not contained in the earlier boxes or sections, then you want to indicate them here in part 6. So that's it. That's pretty it. Well, to round this session up, take note of something that the fact that you do a premium processing does not change the eligibility criteria or the required evidence for any visa classification, be it the EB2 NIW, the EB1A, the I-129, it doesn't, the I-140, it doesn't change anything. It doesn't influence the officer's decision as to approving your petition or not. It doesn't do any of that. The only thing this premium processing from I-907 does is to expedite the processing time of your application or petition. And you should also note that the premium processing is temporarily suspended for certain visa categories, so it's not applicable to all categories of visas. From time to time, this can happen, and that's why I will advise you the same way I started. When you want to do this, the very first thing is please make sure you go online and check the latest information about it, not hearsay of what someone says. And if you can do that, you avoid, mistakes. The final thing as we round up this video is about the fee. You also want to be sure that you make the correct payments. That is very important, because if you do not pay the correct fee, your fund will still be returned to you. So again, if you go online, you enter the site, the USCIS site for I-907, you will see the option of filing fee. And if you click on filing fee, as you can see on the screen, you can see the fee schedule. And if you click that, you will be able to see the latest fee required for what you are filing the I-907 for. For example, since there are different categories, you can see, for example, we have those who are using it for the form I-129. The filing fee is $2,805. For self-petitioners for the employment-based category, you can see here that's for form I-140, immigration petition for alien workers. For all of these categories, the fee is also $2,805. For some other ones, like the application for employment authorization, the fee is different. So basically, that is it. And all I'm gonna say is I wish you all the best, and take good care of yourself. Again, subscribe to Prof Dan YouTube Tutorials channel. Recommend our videos to people that will find it very useful. Share the videos. don't be the only one benefiting from all this robust information. So you want to make sure you share it to people. Just to recap, there are many resources that are available on Provident Tutorials. These are videos that people pay for as workshops, but these workshops are available to you all for free. You want to file your EB2 NIW, you want to try to do it by yourself. Yes, there are videos that can guide you, more than 15 different episodes. The playlist is there. You want to file EB1A, the playlist is there. It can be of help to you. You want to fill all the forms, needed forms, they are there. So what else are you looking for? You can do all this by yourself. Well, overall, in the midst of all this, if you need our support in terms of consultation, check out our website. The description is in the chat. In the description of this YouTube video, you can see our details. You see our services, email. You can reach out to us, and we will be more than happy to support you in your dream of becoming a US citizen. Take care and bye-bye.